Hi, I'm Ralph Ferrett, the Branch Secretary of the Plymouth and East Cornwall and I'm just recording this video quickly to try and explain some stuff about the pension salary exchange. I am hoping to visit as many offices as possible to take your questions directly, but unfortunately time is pressing and it's not going to be possible to get everywhere. So I thought if I recorded this short video that could answer some of your questions. So basically the background to the pension salary exchange is this. Last year the government announced that from the 1st of April 2016 that they were going to be substantially raising national insurance contributions both for us, the people who work, and for Royal Mail, our employer. And consequently Royal Mail has been talking to the CWU about various different ideas about how they could try and ameliorate the impact on us both. One of the ideas that's been put forward and has now been an agreement reached between the company and the CWU on is about the pension salary exchange. Basically, the pension salary exchange is a state-sponsored tax dodge that everybody's happy with in respect of our pensions. And how it works is this. Instead of Royal Mail giving us wages, which we then use to pay our pension, meaning that national insurance contributions have to be paid by both them and us, Royal Mail agree to pay our pension contributions for us and therefore consequently reduce our gross salary. And so that means because they're paying us less gross salary, they have to pay fewer national insurance contributions, and so do we. The same amount of money gets paid into our pension, so there's no hit to our pension in any way, and basically everybody just about wins. A lot of people have said there must be some sort of a catch. Why would Royal Mail want to do this? You know, there's got to be something else to it. But really, we don't think that there is at all. It's one of those rare situations in which everybody seems to win. Royal Mail make a savings on their employer contributions, which is why they're keen on this. Our members make a saving on our national insurance contributions, which is why we're recommending it to our members. And from the government's point of view, even though they take in less money in national insurance contributions because of the PSE, because it encourages occupational pensions, it means bluntly that we'll be paying tax for a longer time, and so therefore they get to take tax from us even after we retire. And it also means that they're less likely to have to pay benefits to retired people if they have occupational pensions. So really everybody's a winner. How it's going to work in practice is that in the very first year, up until the 31st of March 2016, all our Royal Mail pension plan members who don't opt out of the PSE and so therefore are part of the PSE scheme will actually be better off in the first year. We'll actually have more money in our pockets than we would have had we not done the pension salary exchange. From April the 1st, 2016, when the national insurance contributions rise, people who are in the PSE will be worse off than they are now, but they won't be as much worse off as people who are not in the PSE. So in both instances, Royal Mail pension plan members will be financially better off by having done the pension salary exchange scheme. And it's on that basis that the union nationally and your branch locally are recommending the scheme to our members. We think it's the right thing to do and we think that our members will benefit. So when I've been doing these talks and seeing the correspondence that's come from a number of members and reps about this, I know that there are a few questions that keep coming up in relation to the pension salary exchange, so I'd like to try and answer a couple of them now on this video. First up, and the big question that we get asked all the time is, if my gross salary is reduced as a result of doing the pension salary exchange, is this going to have a knock-on effect to the other things that are in relation to my wage? Does it mean my overtime rate and my schedule attendance rate will go down? Does it mean if I take VR or ill health retirement, I'll get less money? Does it mean that my final salary portion of my pension is going to be lower? Does it mean that if I'm unfortunate enough to die while working for Royal Mail, that my relative's death and service benefit is going to be reduced? And the simple answer is no, it's not going to impact on any of those things. Part of the agreement that we've reached with Royal Mail in respect to the pension salary exchange is that they are going to calculate something which is called your basic wage. Now your basic wage is what you would have been paid with that before the pension salary exchange kicked in. And the basic wage of yours is going to be used to calculate all other things. So your overtime rate, SA rate, VR payments, pension, everything like that will all be based on your basic wage. And by opting into the pension salary exchange, there is no way that you're going to lose out in terms of any of these sorts of benefits. Similarly, in terms of external companies that you might want to deal with, a lot of people apply for credit or mortgages, and part of that process is that they write to Royal Mail asking them what you earn, and that has an impact on how much money you can borrow or whether or not you'll be accepted to rent a house and so on and so forth. And again, because those things will be calculated based on your basic wage, it's not going to have any impact whatsoever. So there's no way in which you can lose out in respect of those kinds of things. Another question that we've been asked a lot is about in respect of in-work benefits. What happens in terms of child tax credit and working tax credit, housing benefit, the kinds of things that can be impacted if anything changes on your gross salary. Well, firstly, anybody who earns less than £192 a week is not eligible to the pension salary exchange. So for the main group of members who are likely to be impacted by this kind of thing, unfortunately the pension salary exchange isn't going to be relevant. But for those of us who are above that threshold, firstly, we're not expecting it to have any kind of a major impact on in-work benefits or any of those kinds of things. So we don't expect it is actually going to impact on any of our members. But the crucial point here is, in the event that it were to impact on your tax credits or your housing benefit claim or so on and so forth, any changes would actually be to your benefit. And the reason being is because your salary, gross salary, would be reduced, the amount of benefit you would be entitled to would be calculated upwards. So we don't think it will have an impact, but if it does have an impact, it'll be an impact that's to your benefit. The last question we've had a lot of questions about, topic we've had a lot of questions about, is in respect to the second state pension. There was some information in the literature that Royal Mail sent out about this that I know a number of people have found confusing, and I found it reasonably confusing myself and had to seek clarification on this from CWU headquarters. For the overwhelming majority of our members who are in the Royal Mail pension plan, it's not going to have any impact at all, because we're already opted out of the second state pension as part of the way that the Royal Mail pension plan works. For those of our members who are in the Royal Mail defined contribution plan, it might have an impact. The second state pension works like an occupational pension scheme, and basically the more you pay in, the more you get out. So by opting into the pension salary exchange, whereby your national insurance contributions will be reduced a little bit, it will have some minor impact on your second state pension. But what we're talking about is about pence or possibly £1 a year in total. That's opposed to you maybe saving £20 to £70 a year in terms of your national insurance contributions. So although it could have some very, very minor impact on the second state pension, this is going to be a trivial effect, and it's not a reason not to do the pension salary exchange, we don't think. So consequently, both the union nationally and your branch locally are recommending the pension salary exchange to our members who it affects. We think it's the right course of action, and we think it's right for CWU members. I realise this is a complicated topic, and if anybody has any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me at the branch office. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and I hope this cleared up a few of your queries.